Welcome, beautiful creatures, to the Lightness of Being podcast, where we celebrate the dance of life and explore ways to find joy, laughter, and lightness, even when faced with challenges. Join me, your host, Monika Stefanik, as we step into the light and discover a realm of potential and possibilities for greater ease in our lives. Let's laugh, learn, and grow together.
Welcome, beautiful beings, to this incredible episode of the podcast. I don't even know where we're at in space and time in numbers, but we're here. I'm
right here.
So tired, so exhausted, but we're in such a beautiful, beautiful space with such a beautiful soul. My friend Alex Reininger.
Yes. Yeah.
We got
Like,
it.
perfect. Yes.
In this beautiful location at the Hanai Center, which is super special here in Oregon. I can't even believe how incredible this is. But it is such an honor to have you by my side, my sweet sister.
It's an honor to be here. This is my first time ever podcasting, so It's a little nerve-wracking, but very exciting.
We're here for it.
Yeah,
it's
I think
good.
more exciting than nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excitement is I think I heard something recently where it's fear and excitement are actually the same thing. It's just how you it's physiologically the same in the body, actually. So it's actually more about your perspective. So it's if you feel fear about something, is it fear or is it actually excitement? So you get to be in question.
Wow, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the things that I do that I fear the most, I end up having the most fun.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works.
Blue also says that fear is false evidence appearing real.
Oh, wait, and who is Blue again?
She's an amazing creative. She's a podcaster, but she's also an artist and a multitude of many incredible things.
Okay,
on this
great.
planet. Yeah, but she's a huge inspiration to me. But
I love that. Can you say it one more time?
False evidence appearing real.
Okay, can keep that one.
Yeah, we like that one. Okay, so before we get into all of the things, what is something you're celebrating right now?
This is a big one. I really just want to say health. I think traveling can be one of those things that it kind of does really awaken within you how important health is, because it is kind of like our foundation, right? And I definitely have, coming back from this trip that I was just on, I definitely realized places where I really would like to improve my health. One of them being sleep, the other one being diet. And yet at the same time, I feel so healthy and just really in alignment right now. So, there's always room for improvement. And I mean, we're always growing, but I just am really celebrating health right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Health is so important.
Yeah, and health in spiritually, physically, and mentally.
You look so vibrant and you feel so vibrant. And also,
I got a little sunburned, I will say. I don't know if
the first day I laid out in the beach in Spain, I was like, oh.
Right.
The next day I was like, oh, okay, sorry, body. We got a little too excited about the sun. But it happens every time. It's okay. We're both a nice little tan now.
Yeah.
A good little tan going on.
I have some funny tan lines right now.
Yeah.
They're mostly hidden right now.
That's okay. That's okay. It's beautiful. You're I had a good time.
I did. And I learned lessons.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's so exciting because this is the first time that we're seeing each other in 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Because we both just got
crazy.
Crazy. We both traveled at the same time to complete opposite ends of the world.
Yeah.
I was in Spain. You were in Bali for your first time, solo female international trip, which is amazing. There's so much that we get to talk about and catch up on. So, man, is there
May I ask you,
please,
what are you celebrating?
That's a great question. I had something reflected to me the other day that has me in this space of celebration of someone asked me how just how I was feeling in general and in life, and I was like, I feel really good. I feel really, really happy. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. That's awesome. And that's also interesting because I feel like that's not the space that you've been in. And I was like, yeah, the last few years have been really tough.
Yeah.
And I feel so awesome right now. Like even when there's challenging bits and pieces that come up, my capacity to be able to deal with those things because my nervous system is so much more regulated feels so fucking awesome. So just celebrating that, I'm like, oh, I can handle life. We can do that without like completely deteriorating on the inside and outside, which is like totally okay when that happens.
Ebbs and flows, right? It does happen.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
It totally, and I know it'll probably happen again, but like right now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just like celebrating a consistency of like life being fucking awesome. Life being awesome right now.
I would just love to say that I am so happy to be here celebrating that with you because when we first met, I believe you were in a different state.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can feel it within you and I can see it from an outside perspective. And it's just, it's beautiful.
Thank you for that. I feel like even going into this trip, which I talked about in some of the other podcasts, but I had a fear going into this trip, which was...
I did listen to that podcast. Yeah. So I just like, and I was really feeling for you and just like keeping you in my thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel so different. Like, I don't know if I underwent a shamanic death, but I definitely, in a way, like I'm a totally different person now and feel so good. I was voice messaging with a friend earlier today and I was like, just the JOMO that I feel, the joy of missing out of all the bend things that are happening in this like springtime
There's
energy.
so
And
much
I'm just
going
like,
on.
so just like in my lane, like feeling good about my life and the things I'm choosing and like sleeping and working and all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, cool. Like I feel like a totally different person and yet also like the same. And it's, yeah.
I love that reminder because I feel like I'm one who also like often gets the FOMO because I just constantly want to go, go, go. And I need to remember balance a little bit. Just like, take some space and some breaks.
We'll
so
figure it out.
we're going to transfer that into JOMO, right? Joy of missing out. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's for my overall health.
Totally. And if we were to do all of the things that Ben has to offer all the time, like we would never sleep. But talk about health and wellness, just like
I don't think it's possible, actually. Like,
like our spirit would be so full. And also like, even in this moment, I'm like, if I close my eyes for more than a hot second, I'm just gonna slowly pass out. So yeah. There's so many questions I want to ask you.
I know, where do we start?
Trip to Bali. So, what has, I mean, it was your first was it your first solo trip ever or your first just solo international trip as a female?
I would love to just give you a little bit of background.
Please.
I'll kind of answer that question.
Yeah.
So I did international travel when I was younger, mostly with family. And so I went to Europe, I went to Mexico, I did these trips or with schools, like school groups and like Costa Rica. But when I went to Hawaii for college, I pretty much just focused on school for all of my college like period of life. And then after that, I just kind of started working right away. Okay. So I wasn't traveling at all. I would go to Oregon to see family, and then I would go back to Hawaii and just keep working. So I had the opportunity to travel to Vietnam in December 2023. And that was my first international travel as an adult, really.
Wow.
Yeah. After college.
Oh my gosh.
That was an amazing trip against Southeast Asia. Like, I loved it. It was, again, kind of short. It was like a 10-day trip.
Did you go with people?
Yeah, I went with a partner at the time. And it was a great trip. We did a lot. We packed a lot in.
Yep.
And it was on that trip that I realized that there were many things on that trip that I really that I was interested in doing. That because I was traveling with somebody else, we had to meet in the middle on deciding what to do, where to go. And that trip, I kind of let my partner lead the trip. And so going on this trip to Bali, I was the one making the decisions.
The best.
Yeah.
Always.
Henry.
Did we lose a dog?
I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah. He'll come back. Henry, love. Give him a minute.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear him. Okay. Yeah. Good call. Good call. Thanks. Good looking out.
You got your mom senses. I know you know your dog. I'm just like, yeah. So I was saying, being in Bali, I had no agenda. I I only booked a hotel for the first night. And
Oh
then
my God.
Yeah.
Oh, you're way more intense than me.
I was going into this trip with no plans. And that tends to kind of be how I live my life. It's just kind of like in the spur of the moment, which has its downfalls, I will say. A lot of people wouldn't really feel comfortable doing that. But for me, I just have this like deep trust that I'm slowly learning to be more in tune with my intuition. And my intuition on this trip was just saying, just really trust. And I knew I was safe. I was going in being smart, but not being overly worried, I guess. And so day by day, I would just kind of like really try to tune in with myself and be like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What's calling me? What feels right? And at times I noticed the ego come in and be like pulling me in one direction when I kind of had to take a step back and be like, do I really want to do this? Or do I want to do it because I want to go take a cool photo, or I want to go do this thing that everybody else has done? And so for me, it was kind of like, what do I want to do? And what feels right in this moment? And am I rested enough to go and do that if I want to? Because that was a big one. It's just like trying to make sure that I was getting enough sleep.
The jet lag.
During the travel.
Because you were gone for, with travel time, a total of what, like 10 days?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, for that far, that's a pretty short. That's a pretty
And
short
you know what I
trip.
gotta say is I never once felt tired.
That's awesome. That's
I am
amazing.
amazed. But my first night there, I slept for a while. I woke up like late morning, but traveling to Southeast Asia with a time change was easier for me. It was traveling back here to Oregon that was really hard. Yeah.
I feel like there's just something about coming back to the States. You're like, oh.
Yeah, coming back into like regular routines and schedules and like having to like meet a certain time, like a timeline. Yeah.
It's an energetic thing too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I don't-
I know that was a long way to answer your question, but
No,
that's, it was really my second time traveling internationally as an adult.
Wow.
Yeah, first time solo. I have done many solo road trips, I guess. And yeah, I would say this was my big first solo trip.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely not your last. I can
Yeah.
see that. You're like, no. This was my second solo trip to Europe. So my
Wow.
second solo international trip. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why I would ever do it any other way. Like, and I've traveled a bunch with like past partners and friends, and it is beautiful to be able to go with other people and like experience things with other people and share memories and all that. And having to compromise sometimes, or like travel can be stressful, and understanding how other people deal with stress and having to like navigate all of that is definitely a situation. I feel like I was thinking about like what my ideal situation would be if I ever went to, I think this would work more in Europe and like Southeast Asia, but I was like, to travel with other people would be like, okay, I'm going around this time period. I'm going to stay around here. If you want to come, you book your own plane tickets. You can get your own accommodation. We can like meet up and go do things and like go get coffee and like all the things, but also like you're kind of responsible for yourself. Because I've done the thing where I've like taken people on trips with me and been the leader in that way. And then I also can't relax even if I'm doing things that I want to do, because I'm still in this like leadership position. Whereas like if I'm leading myself and I want to go home and rest, or I want to go chill at a coffee shop for however long I want to, and I can do those things.
I feel like it's easy for the caretaker role to kind of like take over too, like because you care about these people, right? And like if you see them and they're not looking healthy, or like you want to kind of like be there for them, but like that, you have to realize that's not your responsibility, which can be hard when you're traveling with other people.
It took me a few different times, but I have fully learned that lesson. And then just going with myself, I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
All you have to take care of is yourself.
Yeah, this is the best thing ever. Which like, yeah, you get into some situations sometimes, but those are also the moments where it's like every time I've traveled, I guess it's actually kind of like the third time I traveled internationally by myself. Because when I went to go live in England for a little while, I had a week or two by myself.
Okay.
Because what I was about to say was like every time I'm by myself, I'm always so deeply supported, even if I don't have a place to stay. Even if like, I miss my train, like, that deep trust, or even if I'm freaking out, it's like there's always guidance there, and it's always just exactly what it needs to be. And it's so freaking beautiful when that alignment occurs, and you just don't always experience those same things when you're with other people, and like the people that you meet and the interactions that you have, and even just like the way that you interact with the world. Like especially being a woman, traveling alone, right, is a totally different thing. And that depends on like where in the world you're at. I've discovered that, I mean, there's a confidence that comes along with it, but there's also, I call it, which I got this phrase for like this energy, basically, Access Consciousness calls it killing energy, but I kind of liken it to like, don't fuck with me energy. So when like I'm walking through the streets, even if like 2 years ago when I was in Europe by myself, that I would just like go out, and I went over the New Year, so I like had a lot to drink one night and was like wandering the streets in the middle of Budapest like by myself, you know, and like it's like late at night and I'm like navigating the metro, and it's like very easily in certain situations could have been like, you know, taken advantage of. But like even in those moments, having tapped into this space of like, you can't fuck with me, and just having that, like giving off that big energy.
You emit that energy,
giving
right?
off
Like,
that big energy, I'm just like, I'm good. I feel safe. I feel secure. Like it's all okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what was it like traveling by yourself in Asia? Because I haven't done it by myself in Asia.
Gosh, I think going to Vietnam, I feel like was really kind of like fated, and like it was really helpful before going to Bali and before doing a solo trip over there, because I had experienced Southeast Asia once before. I kind of knew the pace of things and, you know, like some of the maybe like risks to look out for, whether it's like being scammed or things like that. And so, yeah, I think for me personally, I tend to be a little naive in the past, and especially when I was drinking. And so now, you know, and I mean, that's part of just like learning and becoming an adult and experiencing, learning the hard way. But I definitely I tend to see the good in people, which again, can sometimes be a little unsafe. Yeah. And so I just really had to kind of try to watch for yellow or red flags in the form of gut feelings, you know, like gut reactions. Like, how am I feeling in my body? Because if anything, 2025 has taught me that my gut instinct is very strong. And if I ignore it, that is when I tend to make myself more sick. And then it just, it really just cascades from there. Yeah. So during this trip, I felt like I was just very aware of those gut feelings. And if there was ever a weird little ping or like just a weird sensation, I would just kind of go in a different direction until it went away. Yeah. And oftentimes it would. And
oh, it's so fun to get to follow those little nudges.
Yes, little nudges. They're everywhere.
I had such a fun time with my body when I would just like walk around. Like there was a moment where I was like, oh, I need to get some sunglasses, or like, oh, I would want to go get some food. And instead of doing it with my mind, I would do this thing where I would just ask my body, I'm like, oh, just like, right, it's Europe. I'm just walking around Barcelona. So I'm like, just take me to like wherever. And I would like pass these like most random little like, it's not even a souvenir shop. It's like one of those little markets and that have the sunglasses stand. So it's not like a super cool sunglasses place like they have like all over Spain. It's just like a random little whatever. And I found the best pair of sunglasses, which are not these. I did get these in Spain.
I was gonna
like a bug with these on, but they're really cute. And
I love them. I feel like people
You're
know
a big
me. No, I'm a sunglasses
I was
person.
like, you're totally gonna vibe with it. I ended up losing those ones, but regardless, it was just like my body was like these, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And the same thing happened with food and all this stuff, and it's just like so fun to get to like, follow those little like intuitive spaces instead of let our mind.
Yeah, and just wander. Like there's no destination. It's like you wherever you are is the destination. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's so great.
Feels really good.
Oh my gosh. What was like, oh my gosh. I mean, what was your favorite thing? Just tell me about like what's most alive when you with you right now when you think about your trip.
You know, I had a point in my trip where for me, again, like the decision making was honestly really difficult at times because I just feel like there are no wrong options there. Like everything is cool. There's so many fun places to visit and things to do. But I was staying on this smaller island, Nusa Penida. And first night I stayed at a hostel. It's my first time staying at a hostel as an adult too. Wow. I had my own room, but it was a lot of people in their young 20s, and it was a party hostel.
Oh yeah.
And I am officially 5 years sober. I reached my 5-year sobriety mark on my trip. And so I kind of got to do a little like ceremony for myself. And it was really special to like have that timeline kind of overlap like that.
Congratulations.
So, thanks.
That's a big deal.
It's good.
Wow.
It's crazy because it feels like a big deal and it also doesn't feel like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you can kind of understand that. Like it just, for me nowadays, I've really gotten control of my alcoholism and my addiction from the past. And it just like spiritually, it feels really good and a big deal. But then like physically, there are no urges anymore. Like I just feel really in control. So I was at this hostel and everybody was partying and it was really great. I met lots of really amazing, friendly people.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just didn't really meet anybody that I felt instantly connected with in our values because most people were drinking and partying and we're kind of there for like the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
But while I was there, I had two options that I was kind of deciding over. Well, I had many options, but I was like, I could either go over to the Gili Islands, which are smaller, really good diving there.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I had heard, again, it's kind of more of a party scene over there, but the diving's really good and I love diving. Or I could go back to the main island of Bali and go explore over there. And I just kind of got called to go hike Mount Batur. I'm probably saying that wrong, but yeah.
Yeah.
And something within me was just saying that that's what I needed to do. Okay. And, you know, if you look at it.
Which is on the main island.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for efficiency's sake, it wasn't the most efficient decision. Like I was in the car probably for 3 to 4 hours during rush hour traffic in the evening. And my driver on the way up there, I don't think he really realized where we were going. Like he didn't, you know, a lot of taxi drivers or drivers there will just kind of like pick up anybody and be like, okay, where do you want to go? And I wanted to go into this crater near Mount Batur, which is really far away. And we ended up on a street that was not paved and it was filled with like a couple feet of water. And we like almost stalled his car out because we were trying to drive through these back streets. And you know, in that moment too, it's really easy to be like, wow, like I can't believe this is happening. But for me, I was like, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be right now in this muddy little village where there are no restaurants. There's really there's little stands where people who probably like live in the building have like a little shop and they sell a couple items there. But yeah, no restaurants, not many people spoke English. And then I found myself at this little villa that was circular shaped and half of it was all glass windows and it looked right out to Mount Batur.
I saw a picture of that and I was like, whatever is happening there.
I felt so, just like, it felt so special to be there. Oh my God. And they had a bunch of rain the past couple days before I got there. And then when I got there, it was just sunshine. Like hiked and it was nice. It never rained. And yeah, it was beautiful. I felt really, really lucky. So I can't remember what your question was.
Okay. I was just asking you what's most alive about your trip? That's beautiful. Did you stay there for a little while then?
I only stayed there for one night.
Oh my God.
But I woke up at sunrise and went and hiked Mount Batur with a group of people who I didn't know, but I met, again, a handful of really awesome people.
Yeah.
And just kind of made friends along the way.
Yeah.
And then after that, I ended up going back down to kind of like the main city part, Seminyak area.
Okay.
And I stayed the night there for a couple nights for my last 2 nights there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel like I did a lot of very different things. I kind of stayed in the city. I stayed on the smaller island.
You
next
hiked
to
the mountain.
Yeah, I stayed up in this tiny village that not many people know is up there. And it was so great.
I just remember seeing some of your pictures on social media and I was just like, especially for how this trip had originally started, I was so happy for you. So I'm like getting chills right now. She's so stoked for you. Like everything that you were experiencing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly what this was supposed to be for you, which is so beautiful.
I felt just really blessed and guided that whole trip. Like it just felt safe. Like there were really no negative emotions on the trip ever.
Dude, same for me. This was
Yeah?
the first time I didn't get sick. I didn't cry. Like,
I didn't cry either.
Okay, no, I did cry when I was leaving. Like my last day, and I went down from Barcelona and went down to Tarragona to like integrate everything, and then I had my last day there before going back to Barcelona, before catching my plane home. I was like sitting and looking out at this amazing amphitheater and the sea, and it was a beautiful day, and I was just like crying because like I love this. Like Europe is also, I just talk about this on the podcast, on my moon line, my Uranus, my like Neptune, and I think Jupiter or something. So like, but your moon line is like where you feel most at home, and a lot of times like, people settle. So
your
like,
moon line
goes through like it goes just off the coast of Spain, but it goes right through Europe, which is why like I've always been so called there, which makes so much sense. Like it goes right through France and like through the part of the UK that I lived in, which fascinated me and all these things. But then I come home to like, I knew I was coming home to my Pluto line. Okay. I was like, oh, I love Bend and I love this land so much, but also like, it's so tough for me here.
Yeah.
It's been so tough. And so like leaving my home. So there was like a little bit of that. And like, so kind of like an existential crisis, but also just like, it's just being so beautiful. And I was in Spain and was like, oh.
It's so interesting because I remember in the podcast with Puma before you left, right, you were saying that you were feeling like kind of sad to leave this gorgeous state, right? Yeah, isn't it crazy how we can feel both? Like, it's really just this polarity and like, or duality, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like excited.
That's totally okay. Yeah.
You did cry? Or you didn't cry?
I actually had this thought the other day too, because like I will say I've cried a lot in 2025, just like a lot of emotion, and I don't remember crying.
It's been 5 years in this like 4-month period.
Yeah. I don't think I cried.
I mean, not that crying's wrong, but that it's just like beautiful to be in that like heightened state of like awe and joy and bliss and just like feeling really good. But it's like, I definitely felt even as I was crying, like there was sadness, but there was also so much like joy at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's like, I was reflecting as well, which I don't know if I saw this somewhere, but actually having a lot more moments, like 2025 has been intense for me too. And like having a lot of like really,
I feel like that's for a lot of people.
Oh my God. Like so much big transition and like shifts and shedding. And so there's been like a lot of pain and sadness and tears that are in that realm, but there has also been more tears of joy and like experiences of awe and bliss and like crying from that state, which I was like, I don't feel like I've experienced that a lot in my life. Like crying just from like being so emotionally moved by looking at it. I feel so much. I really do. I had a relationship with the pigeons in Barcelona. Like I would something is different about those pigeons, but like I would just like look at them every day, and I was like cried one time and I was like, y'all are just so beautiful. Like, what are you doing? Just like, I don't.
So we're just doing things in life, like really when we can notice those, they're everywhere.
So silly, and like everyone like, you know, pigeons, they're just like these fucking birds, but.
And maybe that is, I think it's just kind of resonating with me right now that like, maybe that is a takeaway from these trips that we just had, is that people often travel to go see these grandiose things or places. And I don't really feel like I did a lot of that on this trip, which is kind of unlike most of my traveling in the past.
Same.
And it felt even more wholesome.
Same. Yeah. So like not traveling for a purpose, like I never would have even, so I've been to Spain before, but never Barcelona. And I was like, I don't think I would have, I might've said this on one of the other ones too, but I don't think I would have gone to Barcelona. Like I never really felt called there. And so going there for this training, I was like, oh, it's beautiful. But I also didn't have a plan and didn't plan anything out. And like getting to see the Sagrada Familia was like a whole thing in it. But like
those big moments are really special too.
So
like,
special,
it's good to have them
planned.
Exactly.
And not having this, like, I have to go see. Yeah, I was like, I have to go see this thing. Yeah, because usually apparently you have to like that place is, it's the biggest basilica in the world, the tallest basilica in the world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site too, which is like, but it's so popular, which I've been in so many churches, like I've never had to buy a ticket ahead of time. And I realized like when I originally went to look, there was nothing available. And long story short, the universe aligned, and like day of, like an hour before I needed to be there, there was like one ticket available. And I was like, no, wait. And there was like originally nothing available for my entire time in Spain. Like I would have taken the train back from Tarragona just for the day to like go and see this place and gone back, but there was nothing available. So yeah, just like that alignment.
It all worked out.
And I was like, you know, it's okay if it doesn't, like I'll come back. But it's like the beauty of all of it was so that unplanned, just like navigation and getting to wander. And I've never really spent that long either on my last trip I was spending like maybe a week in each place, but still like, or like a little bit less than that. But this time I really got to know like, especially a particular neighborhood of Barcelona, because it's like I was like walking to my training every day. So I was walking the same path in the neighborhood and like getting to see the same people and the dogs.
Yeah,
and
because
going
they're in
to, like,
their
the same
routine.
cafe.
And
Yeah. And then even when I left and came back, and I did stay at a hostel also for one night before leaving, which was like, I've stayed in a lot of hostels. After this one, I was like, I think I'm over it. I think I'm done.
Right, we're around that age where
I'm done.
I hear that from a lot of people.
The convenience was like very nice. But it was kind of in the same neighborhood. So like leaving Barcelona, but then coming back and getting to be in the same neighborhood and walking the same path and seeing the same people again, I was like, oh, this is really nice. It's like you really get to know an area, and like I got to know the metro really well and everything, and it was just like so beautiful to get to just let everything naturally unfold without a plan, and to not be in the state that I've been in trips in the past where I'm like, oh, I have to hyper plan everything and see all these things, and I'm here to take a picture with this. And I was like, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's not about that. Even traveling this far, maybe I don't get to walk into the most amazing basilica in the world. It's okay, I'll come back. Like, being in that state is not something past Monika would have been okay with. Like, at all.
Wild?
She would have freaked out.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I know exactly that feeling there too. One of the things that was really special that I got to do on this trip was go diving, scuba diving.
You did get to go
I
dive?
did, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't plan it. I just went over to that island, Nusa Penida, and I went to one of the dive shops, and they had availability on the boat. And so I got to do 3 dives in one day, back to back.
Are you
to back.
certified?
Yes.
Okay, so you were pre-certified.
Yes.
Okay.
I have been certified for a while because I did some diving. I didn't. Yeah,
lived in Hawaii.
Did a lot of diving in Hawaii,
That
and
makes
then,
sense.
but I haven't been diving a lot recently. And normally, you go on like dive trips like that, you want to take pictures of the cool things you see underwater, because why not? But for me, I went on this trip and I was like, I want to go and just be there and not have anything in my hands. I don't want to have a camera in my hands. I
You
just
don't have to worry about losing your phone.
Exactly. I wanted to like fully be in the moment. And I feel really grateful that other people there ended up taking tons of photos because they wanted to, and then shared all these photos with me. So I got to see manta rays for the very first time.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. And living in Hawaii, like I was surprised I had never swam with mantas before, because it's one of the main attractions on the Big Island.
Wow.
And I've seen them from boats, but never been in the water with them.
Oh my God.
I got to see cuttlefish too, or cuttlefish.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
They're spelled with a T. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really cool because they're just, you don't see them everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
yeah, so diving was like one of another really special part of the trip, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've only ever scuba dived one time in my life.
Where?
In Tarifa in
Where's
Spain, which
Oh,
is like the
okay.
most southern tip of Spain 2
Yeah.
years ago when I was there. And like that was an intuitive, I should have said no to.
Hey,
but
you learn from it. Yeah.
It was an I really wanted to experience it. And like,
Yeah.
I just had, it was literally like the hottest second of a moment of like, I'm pretty sure like I passed out for a hot second and then came right back. I don't know if you,
Underwater.
I don't really know what happened, because like we were each like one-on-one with a person, right? And we're just like doing the thing, and I don't know if I like took too big of a breath in and came, like we didn't even go that deep, you know? Like we just like walked along the ground, like we did not take a boat out into the middle of the ocean or anything. And I don't know what happened, but I just had this experience. Like I remember everything was okay, and then all of a sudden I was just like, it's like my eyes rolled into the back of my head. But a split second later, she must have seen in my eyes and like maybe brought me back down. But it was like one moment out, one moment back. So like the hottest like 3 or 4 seconds of my life, but enough for me to be like.
That is one thing with diving. So I have done a lot of diving and dive training too, and it is one of those things that's hard, because it's like you feel like, okay, I don't have a lot of time, and like this is an experience that I need to jump at the opportunity that I have. But my dive partner on the boat was another traveler, a younger female, and she was trying to squeeze a bunch of stuff in, and she was really sick and had a very congested nose and was coughing.
Oh my God.
And
that's dangerous.
Yeah, and I was honestly concerned for her for a little bit, but And she even told me, she's like, my dad said not to go diving. And she's like, but I can't miss this opportunity. And I just kind of was like seeing my younger self in her, in a sense, because if I know nowadays, if I were like that, I would not go, because I know I just couldn't. And it wouldn't really be worth the risk of my health and stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's so dangerous in those elements too. Like, I think that there's a lot of different factors. I feel like that for me. Like, I was not in a regulated nervous system state at all. Like, I'm very comfortable in the water. I used to be a swimmer, like open water, even like ocean, even if I'm close to like the shore, it does still freak me out just because like I have so much healthy respect for the ocean. It's insane. It's like
it's
absolutely insane.
For
the fact
sure,
the fact that I even went in, oh my God. So,
I know, he's so majestic.
He's adorable. The fact that I even went was crazy, but I think it was because I had someone to go with me, which like really helped. But even as we're going in, like I knew that like I wasn't fully breathing super regulated. So like I'm not really surprised that happened, to be honest. Like I keep saying, I've said a lot, like I would never scuba dive again. I would have to tune in with my body, because I think I would,
if it feels right.
love to, because it was so beautiful. But like, I think I do get freaked out about the pressure and like how it's just so easy for something to go wrong.
Definitely.
And I like intuitively and like mentally, I just know that. And so then it's hard for me to snap out of that to fully enjoy the experience. And like, I just remember I was trying to enjoy it, but I was so focused on just trying to breathe.
I mean, it's your life on the line, right?
Yeah,
it's like you
absolutely.
Really, like that is the priority. And so I feel like that instinct takes over of like, it
We
is.
probably could have been trained better. It's not like we were like, we did a training right before we went into the water. Like, it's not like a,
I understand. And I did, like, my dive training was very prolonged for that reason, because we took things very slow. And like, I think that with high risk activities like that, like, seems to be the safest way to go about it. It's just like, there's a saying from my old past life as a marine biologist of like, slow is pro. Especially when driving boats, like driving boats, slow as pro, and diving too, like slow as pro. Like you have to go slow.
I feel like life, slow as
pro. Really, because it's like the slower and more kind of like methodical you can do something. It shows that you just have a more professional,
like mastery.
Exactly,
like
mastery. That's such a great,
Like even the patience and the presence.
The presence. Oh gosh, I love those words. It's so true.
I love that. That's profound. Hello, beloved beings. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. I wanted to drop in really quick and let you know about this amazing community that I have been a part of and that has transformed the trajectory of my life over the last few years in magnificent ways. Back in 2023, I chose to partner with a 52-year-old Japanese company to be a part of a massive movement to change regular tap water into pure, healthy, electrolyzed, reduced, and hydrogen-rich drinking water. We are helping to create a new paradigm for living on this planet and pledge to realize a revolution in true health in the form of economic health, physical health, and mental health. If this sounds like your jam, please let me share the vision with you. There is a link in the show notes to sign up for my email list. I'll gift you a free ebook, and we'll get started from there. How does it get better than that? Now, let's get back to the conversation. I recorded a podcast about the Sagrada Familia. Basically, it was like my first week in Barcelona, and I had journaled because I had done some research on those 4 lines that go through Europe, and so I talked a bit about each of them, because I was like, it was like spirituality as well as home, and then like abundance and success, and like of course I'm there for like this training that's about to like expand my professional life in so many ways, in the way that I get to work with people, which I've been doing some sessions since I've been back, just like some pro bono ones to like bring it out. Yeah, it's so cool. But it's also that space of like slow as pro. Like it's a very different approach to working with the body, but like deeply, deeply present as well, which is
I can't wait to hear more about this too.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I'm just so excited. But yeah,
I just think it's really cool that you were able to travel for work purposes too, and personal. But like, to me, that's kind of this trip instilled something within me. And it does realize that I want to incorporate travel into I don't want to say like work, but my
life.
life.
Your business is your
Exactly.
life.
My
Your life
business.
is
Yeah.
your
I don't
business.
work. I don't
Like,
work. I just live. And
that's how it felt like when I realized that. And I was like, oh, I get to use this trip as a tax write-off. Like, that was the first time I realized it. And I was like, because I'd gotten my business credit card like right before I left. And I was like, oh, whoa. And like, you know, you still gotta like be aware of things. But I was like, wait, so much of what I've been asking for in my life and in my world is here. And I've had so much of that happen on this trip. And even after coming home, I'm just like, not even like life is fucking phenomenal. And how does it get better? Just show me how good it gets, universe. Every day. I'm like, consistently, just show me how good it's amazing. And then things just keep unfolding, and like the stuff that I'm choosing, it just feels so good to, I think, finally be in a space where I'm like really choosing for me and not being as concerned about the people in my environment and like my people pleasing tendencies. I feel like are finally like, I feel like they're finally gone. Which doesn't mean that I don't care about other
Not at
people
all.
and situations and stuff, but it's just like, I'm like, whoa, like I'm fully choosing my life for me and not shifting my schedule or other things in my world, or making decisions based on like what might happen with someone or how it might affect someone else. And I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna like choose what feels right. And if I need to communicate to people, I will, but it just feels so good to like let things unfold in that way. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what it's like to not people please and like fully choose my life and my living. That's amazing. While also still caring about others and getting to like co-create with others. And I get to there was a message that Ryan put out about the Mose show, and I'm doing the altar for it.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Kirsten and I are going to do it together, which is so great. And I was like, so not only do I get a free ticket, also getting paid for it, but I was like, oh, I'm going to, because her and I had plans to hang out beforehand. And I was like, okay, I really want to choose this, but also like, and she's great at creating altars. But I was like, I had plans with her, so I want to like check in with her. But I was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I was like, I'll take the free ticket, but I'll pay you the money. So it's basically like you're getting in for free too.
Yeah.
And she was like, fuck yeah, let's do that. So we get to co-create and like do this thing together. And I'm like, I'm so excited. Like, this is so rad. It's just, life is
right.
So
you were on the right
miraculous.
path.
Yeah. Life is so miraculous.
It becomes more and more clear that like this is exactly the direction we're meant to be heading in.
And even getting little things like that, like being here where I'm like, I'm on my Pluto line. Like, why do I live here? There's such a reason for me to be here. And I love living here. I really, really do. I really do. And I love Europe a lot. Like, I'm just a totally different person when I'm there. Things are so easy.
And you can be in both places.
Yeah. And I can also like infuse that energy. Like, I've realized that even being here and swirling in that type of like more plutonic energy, it's like, okay, I don't have to, but I get to get really clear. So like very limited substances, if none at all, in any type of a way, or at least really intentional with what that is. And like, I already like don't drink alcohol and stuff, but I realized that once I started to cut a lot of those influences out and get really clear in my center, and then doing, you know, my practices and sleeping really well, I was like, oh, it's a lot easier to be with these energies as they come up, which is why I'm like, oh, I can navigate it a lot easier. And I just get high on life, which is awesome. Right? And being around other people that get high on life, which is so great. And cacao, maybe, you know.
Right?
But
I love it. A lot of friends that I feel like I have met within this past year are somewhere within their sobriety, you know, depending on what substance that is. But like, they just really try to live present. And it's funny, but I
raw dogging life is so
raw dogging it. I love that term. And I
raw dogging it out here.
Yeah, but it's oftentimes those people that, like, they've said the same thing, and I feel this, but they say that like people think I'm really drunk because I'm crazy and like all over the place and having fun. And it's like, it's funny because I'm totally sober right now. Yeah, but really just high on life and just being present. And
you know,
connected.
What's fascinating about those spaces is like when you are sober and also when you're like tapped and tuned in, you can feel the medicine that other people are on. And you start to kind of like people, you're seems like you're kind of drunk right now, or like, oh, you're on mushrooms, and it's like, actually, I'm not, but I'm definitely picking up on your vibe, and like because everything is energy, and we're all like tuned in, and we're in this interwoven space together, and like maybe we're contact dancing and we're touching. It's like of course that's moving through me in some type of a way. So it's like it also gets to be really cool because I'm like, oh, I could go to these environments and like not take anything and still feel the effects of it, but not get the after effects later, which is great.
Wow, I really like that. I've never thought about it that way, but I like that.
Like experiment with how you feel the next time you enter spaces like that. And then I also start to feel, because I think I told you, like when I went to the cross-sex ticket, that was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard for me because when it's,
I will admit to it is hard for me sometimes. And it has really taught me to self-regulate in specific situations. And I've noticed I am extremely sensitive to energies, especially when I'm up on stage teaching line dancing. And if I see a facial expression in the audience, I feel it right away. And so I have to kind of then be like, okay, like this is not my energy. I can recognize it, but I don't have to like absorb it. And so I always respect like that we need to just take care of ourselves and not put ourselves in those situations if we don't want to have to try to regulate.
Yeah. It's like those spirits are so alive and real. And they're all welcome. Like, bless your sweet souls. And also, like,
I find it kind of funny that being like 5 years sober, here I am working
in a bar.
But
doing
like some days I do, and I love it. And the way that I have, for a while, I was really just reflecting and asking myself, like, is this in alignment with what I want to be doing and what is best for me right now? And the thought would come back up. And eventually I came to this like clarity where I realized that I believe I am meant to be there because I really want to create this bridge between very polar communities. And I think that the more that we can just kind of slowly intertwine or just kind of understand each other and connect, that it can possibly just create more cohesion. Yeah, that's the word. Okay, exactly. And it's hard because like that is not our job, but I feel like because I love what I'm doing there, I think that I can still maintain an overall mental, spiritual, physical health and do that. It might be a little uncomfortable, but I always leave happy.
Yeah.
Even if the moment is a little more difficult.
It may not be your job, but it's definitely like a leadership position in this world, which is really beautiful for the guidance of
in such a
souls that need a little
way.
Guidance. Yeah. Wow. It's really beautiful. So, oh my gosh. You want to share a little bit about like what you do and how you move your body in this world? Because as we're talking about line dancing.
Yeah. And I think it kind of comes back to one of the main takeaways from my trip.
Okay.
I didn't have any big grand epiphanies or anything, or like I didn't find myself. I didn't have that eat, pray, love journey. Like kind of it's like a joke, but I did have a moment where I was like,
find your soulmate on a beach in Bali? What?
This is my soulmate.
This is my soulmate right here. The self-love is off the charts.
Exactly.
Yes.
I really fell even more in love with working with kids in Bali, which was not expected. I had a moment, again, on Nusa Penida. I had a lot of really special moments there. Okay. And I was just walking the beach, kind of exploring one of the little town areas. And I found myself just sitting in joy, doing nothing but watching a bunch of kids playing in the sand on the beach. And after a while, I could see that like they saw me and I saw them and we kind of engaged with each other. And so, I open up to connect and then I realize that they don't speak any English. And or maybe a few words, right? But not conversational. And I speak no Balinese or Indonesian. But it was really cool that we were able to still kind of connect and interact. And I didn't even really expect this to happen, but all of a sudden I was trying to teach them a dance.
Was that the video that you sent us, our group?
Yes, I did send this video to you because it was just like, it was my favorite moment of the whole trip. It was 3 Balinese girls, maybe 10.
Yeah, because you taught them the Macarena.
Yeah, we did the Macarena. Yeah, and I was like, do they know this? And they did not know. Like, I didn't see it resonate with them. Like, they had learned this before.
Okay.
But yeah, we did the Macarena, and then we just like did like some other little like silly moves, and then they taught me a dance that, you know, they all knew, and it was just, it was so special. I hung out with them for probably an hour on the beach, and we didn't say anything. Like we just laughed and smiled and danced. Yeah.
Best moment.
Yeah, and they actually saw my phone sitting on the beach, and they asked, they're like, can we take a, like, you know, somehow like gesture to the phone to take a video.
Yeah.
And so I put my phone up, like I wasn't even planning to take this video, but for me, it just was so special that I was able to get it, like to capture that moment and to be able to look back on it. And yeah, it was really
especially because it's like your favorite moment. So getting to like have an encapsulated memory.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
And I think that dance is something so I grew up dancing, and I think at a younger age, you know, society tells you that like it's really hard to make a career out of that because any
type
usually
of art. How dare you even try?
So
like, how dare you
art
try with the arts?
General.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's so hard to ignore that when like that is really what just you feel most authentic doing, and it brings you the most happiness. And I think, like, I am very glad that I went into science and marine biology, and I'm even more happy that I am now in my next chapter of life. Just kind of, I feel like I've almost gone kind of full circle back to dance, which was always just, it felt most authentic to me as a person. And so now here I am teaching line dancing at the Cross-Eyed Cricket. and
roller skating lessons.
And roller skating, yes.
And ice skating in the wintertime.
Yeah. And I think another special thing about the Bali trip is I was able to dive and connect with marine life, which will always be a big part of me. I was able to dance, and I also got to roller skate because I brought my skates with me.
Did you really?
So first I skated in the Taipei airport.
Okay.
Just around, just cruising around.
Yeah.
Had a layover there. And then I reached out to Skating Without Borders, which is a skate group around the world. And their chapter there was having a meetup on a Tuesday night. And I just decided to kind of go down and check it out.
Wow.
I didn't really talk to anybody for like the first hour. I just skated. And then by the end, I was having like these deep conversations with the skate group there and just really connected with them. Wow. Yeah.
It's beautiful because it's like that thing that like really resonates deeply with you, like transcends culture, and it allows you to find a community in spaces where like you don't feel like you have any, right? So it gets to bring people together, which is so beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad you had that experience. Wow.
I feel like really like that is my trip kind of just like in a wrap was I was able to do some of the things that just felt most in tune with who I am, and the ways that I like to connect is through dance, the ocean, skating, and wandering. Just like really like just going anywhere.
Wow. Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's so beautiful.
Did you have any moments similar? Or I saw like pictures of you just out under the sun and just really looking like you were just like living in vitality. And
I felt really healthy. It's one of those things where, like I said, this is the first time I haven't gotten sick on an international trip. Like usually it's like, and I started my bleed as we were like flying over Greenland. I knew this was gonna happen, but I was like, please just wait till I get there or something. So I had like, your immune system is a little bit lower, and I was like, man, and I had brought like some meds and stuff with me just to like kind of hopefully help out. But I think I wasn't like stressed out either. And so I just felt really, really grateful to be in this space of like feeling really healthy and well. I had some physical things going on. Like I'd actually really hurt my foot before leaving.
Really?
Which my roommate had helped me try to do some things, which did help. But still, when I got there, I mean, like, I'm carrying 2 backpacks.
Yeah.
Like, I knew.
Traveling is hard on the body.
It is. And I knew, and I was like, oh man, like, am I going to be able to walk around these streets, you know? And as I was there for a training, like, there was a day, I don't even remember when it happened, but like, there was a moment where like all of a sudden my foot was better. And I was just like, wow. I mean, it was a week long of like healing, right? But I didn't even like recognize when it had started to feel better. And then there was a day where I was like,
does it hurt?
My foot doesn't hurt. Yeah, but it wasn't like, it's so beautiful because it's like you have this reflection of connecting with others, which there was something that you said earlier that I wanted to speak to, of like being able to go to other cultures and having a language barrier, but still being able to have this really beautiful connection, which is like totally a tangent we could go off on. But what I wanted to talk about first was like, I was there for trainings, like I met people, I was seeing the same people every single day from other cultures and that spoke English and all of this. And like but I did find like in that space, and I connected with a few people. But I also, like, this trip for me was a very much like, this is a Monika trip. Like, this is a very, like, self-love showing up for you. And even Dr. Carly, who's the like, creator of the spinal flow technique, right? She was saying how, like, on our breaks, she's like, you do you. Like, some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. Like, honor your body and like also make sure that you're like, I know that we're in a city, but there is nature, and so making sure that you're going and recharging in the way that you need to. And so like one lady did ask me to go for lunch on the first day, and that was great. And I went to lunch with her and we got to connect, and it was really beautiful. She's from Sweden, and so it's like it's always great to connect in that way. And yet the whole rest of the week I just found myself really needing to like be alone on the breaks. And like I actually went to go dance, and I would like record some videos of me dancing, and it like just felt so good to put my feet on the earth and connect with nature and recharge in that way, because like we were doing a lot, and like it's big energy that you're in charge of in that space, and you're also learning at the same time, and you're healing. And so it's like I actually really, like, as much as I really want to connect with people, I really need to connect with myself and take care of myself. And I found myself going into judgment of myself a little bit, because I would see others creating these really beautiful connections. And I did have some really beautiful connections. I totally did. But just like continuous, like, or even when we would come back before the sessions, like they would all be chatting, and I was just kind of like on my own. And I was like, should I be connecting more? Like, I've always connected pretty deeply with people when I go on trips, so this feels kind of weird. But I was like, this is like meant to be a space for me. And the people that I did connect with, like the connections were short, but they were really potent. And they're like definitely lasting.
Quality.
Yes.
Over quantity.
Quality over quantity. And so getting to like really nurture myself and connect deeply with myself was really important. And I tend to not, when I do go on these big trips, I usually tell people, I'm like, you can try to contact me, but I'm probably going to be AWOL for the most part, just because I'm very much in my experience and time changes and all that. But there was a particular person I was connecting with like almost every day, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
And even in that space, though, I found myself like, okay, is this taking away from my presence being here right now? So I was also like navigating that a little bit, and like no judgment there at all. And I'm like so grateful for everything that I chose, because there were like lessons in all of it, and like me learning how to like honor myself completely. And it was a really beautiful thing to get to navigate, honestly. And there was a lot that came up for me in all realms of like the connection and the non-connection, and a lot of like old patterning that I got to like let arise and like come through. And just getting to have so much spaciousness was really, really needed. And I'm really grateful for all of it. But it's like, I just had such a great time with myself, and I didn't cry at all until I had to leave, which was like a mix of joy and also like, why am I leaving my home? And
I think it's such a good skill though to have, just to be able to practice, because it takes practice being totally okay and enjoying just being by yourself.
Own company.
Yeah, your own company.
It's like, this is like the most important relationship. And I've definitely, I mean, I spent a lot of time by myself over the years, but I've also spent that time with myself with substances or with like TV, like there has been some distraction in that. And like, because I was like, I pride myself on being alone. Like I've spent a lot of time alone. I've spent birthdays alone and all this, so my birthday's Christmas Eve. So it's like, there's been so many
Wow.
instances over my life that I've spent a lot of time alone, and I actually like enjoy it. But this was a time where I was like, no, like because before I didn't really like love myself, so I feel like that time alone was coming from a totally different space. But this time I was just like, I freaking love myself, and this trip is awesome, and all the alignment that's coming in and everything happens with so much ease, and all the travel navigation stuff, like it was so easeful and beautiful and like aligned and magical, and all the little things that the universe was showing me. I was just like, what's even happening right now? Like I can see the sea from my bed, and I can watch the sunrise, and there's these Easter processions that are moving underneath my balcony. Like I think I don't know if I shared it in the podcast or I shared it with someone else, but there was a moment where I was like in Barcelona. I mean, you know, when you're in Europe, you see these like, there's things that happen in the streets. And like, I've always seen people up on their balconies getting to like look at this stuff as it moves along. And I was like, oh, that's a really great way to like experience it and view it. Like, that's really beautiful. But I had never like, there wasn't like a conscious, like, I would want to be there. I was just like, that's really cool. And I was given this beautiful apartment in the middle of this square in Tarragona, and then these these massive Easter processions.
Wow.
Are coming through under divine timing. Are just like coming through. I'm just like sipping wine. I get to like be inside if I got cold, or go sit in the sun and like watch these things come through, and like eat cheese on my 2 balconies. Just like, and I was like, oh, I'm that person that's up on their balcony, and then people are looking up at me, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Like,
I'm that person.
I'm that person. This is amazing. It was very like public, but also feeling really, so I also got this perspective of like, oh, I see how like people who live in places like this are very like annoyed by some of these bigger tourist groups, because I would see these big tourist groups come around and like looking up and stuff, and I'm like, I can't even like exist in my own apartment without people like looking on me, you know? So I got to have a really interesting experience and being in it, which was really beautiful.
I just brought up a thought too with that of just like when you do travel solo, you are not a tourist group. You are just a single person going and connecting rather than looking maybe and seeing. And I guess I did feel like, because I've done the tourist thing, you know, I've done it like, you go to New York, you go on like a big bus, and you go and you are like a looky-loo. And this time, I guess I don't really feel like I'd never felt like a looky-loo on this trip.
I'm sure you fit in very well.
Or just more so just like, I mean, I feel like I still stood out a little bit.
Totally. I mean, I
with my blue roller skates.
Yeah.
I feel like, what are those?
Totally, like, we have a look for sure. And then the second they know you don't speak the language, you're like, oh, okay. But I got mistaken for a local 4 times.
I could see it.
I had local people come up to me. I was like, my whole intention when I go to Europe is to like not look American. I was like, I want to look like I fit in here. And so it's taken some years, but this is the first time where I was like, oh, okay, cool. I love it. I was like, it's a vibe for sure.
You know what? And now that I think about it, there was one time when I was at the skate meetup that people thought that I lived there because it was like a local skate.
It's like the best compliment ever.
Travel with your roller skates. Right. So I was like a local skate group person.
I feel like it's like the highest compliment. I was just like, we did it. I was like, I have reached the height of my existence. Thank you. I belong here.
Just kind of like really merging with the culture, right?
Yeah,
like
which feels so good, because like I feel like especially as Americans, right? Like we're very invasive as a people, as a past. Very invasive. So like my whole intention when I go to other cultures, any type of culture, is to like, how can I be a contribution to this? How can I be a part of this? And like, I also know that I have an immense privilege. I recognize that privilege like so deeply, and I'm so grateful for it because I get to come and do these types of things. And also like, how do I contribute to this community and get to know this community, which to me feels that space of like slow is pro. Slowing down and getting to like know where you're at and know the people. And like, I could have, when I was like in my training, I could have gone to different coffee shops every single morning, but I chose to keep going to the same one because I would see the same women every day. And I'd like try to like work on my Spanish and have little conversation. And it was just like so beautiful to build that connection instead of just like in and out. And especially in places like that, like you do encounter people that are on the other side of the counter where it's just like that's like all they're encountering most of the time. So it's like if you get to break that cycle for someone, I could see it in their eyes because they know that I'm not a local. It was like so beautiful to get to start to like shift that narrative a little bit, but also feel like I'm not just coming and invading someone else's space. Yeah.
It's really special.
It's really special. It's an honor that we get to travel the way that we do. And
we
have a really powerful passport too, which a lot of people I didn't take that into consideration until a few years ago when I was conversing with some friends that live internationally as well and would like to travel in the way that we do, and they just can't.
Oh, I guess I'm
more
kind of maybe a
challenging.
little naive to this too. Maybe you can educate me later because I don't know much about other countries' passports and their travel abilities.
Especially even to like come into the United States, depending on where their passport is from, you know, it like there's some challenge across the world. And so it's like, and this was at a point in time where I was like, you know, I feel some type of way about America. But I was very humbled through this person's experience and how she can travel, but it's a challenge to get to certain places, or it might take months, years to be able to figure out if you can get into somewhere, you know? And so it's just like, we don't have to, for them, at least to my knowledge of the places I've tried to travel to, it doesn't seem like it's that much of a challenge.
I got like a visa upon arrival. Like it was just like, oh, hey, I'm here. Give me my visa. Like I'll pay for it. Right. No questions asked or anything.
So it's quite a privilege, and it definitely made me have a much deeper appreciation for getting to grow up where we do and have the passport that we do. Yeah.
Tons to be grateful for.
So much to be grateful for. How are you feeling right now? Well, okay, how has your integration back to the States been? You've been playing a lot.
I have.
That's great.
Honestly, I feel a little irresponsible right now just because I have been playing a lot and I have a lot to do. But it's been really great. I just kind of hopped right back into working at the family toy store downtown, and I started roller skating lessons this week. So that was just like really sparked like a fire within me because roller skating is my heart and soul.
I need to hop in on
dance.
that for sure.
Yeah.
I used to roller skate a bunch, but it's been a while.
We'll make it happen.
Easier than ice skating though, for sure.
Yeah.
So it feels safer.
And it's just one of those things that I feel is so inclusive, kind of like dance in a way where it's, I've always felt like the energy around roller skating is really positive and inclusive. So
how can you not be happy with roller skating?
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah. I think I skated for like 5 to 6 hours yesterday. Yeah, I woke up this morning, I was like, that may have not been the smartest thing to do, but I just didn't take them off.
Having fun. That's okay.
I was like, I'm gonna go get Dutch Bros. I just skated over to Dutch.
It's fun.
Yeah, so integrating back has been good. I really feel like I need to work on getting more sleep.
Okay.
But other than that,
circles back to what you said at the beginning. Sleep, wellness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very apparent, and like I'm very aware of the changes that I need to make or would like to make to kind of treat my body better. Yeah. How about you?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's been better than any of the other ones. I always have at least a day or two after I get back where I'm like, there's a little sads that kick in.
Yeah.
For sure.
The post-trip depression.
Yeah. But thankfully I did sleep a bunch. I just allowed myself to rest. I went right back into work, which was good, I think. Not intensely, but right back into work the day after and then the next day, and then spent the weekend just allowing myself to rest and be in nature, which felt really good. But also I felt like, oh, I should be doing things. But it was even though I felt awake, it was my brain couldn't there were computer work things I wanted to do, and even though I had this drive and this intention and all this motivation to do it, I would sit down and I was like, I can't form an email right now. I literally cannot do this. What is happening in my brain parts?
Yeah.
So
I've been feeling that too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just the pressure of kind of our American society to constantly do and constantly connect with people and not just be. and like meet timelines. Like that has been my hardest thing this past week, has been meeting timelines.
Yeah.